This video breaks down the most powerful character transformations in movie history, the turns that shocked us, inspired us, and made us ask, could I have done the same?
How bad do you think it's gonna be? Pretty goddamn bad.
1. Michael Corleone. At the beginning of The Godfather, Michael isn't that guy. You know, the mob boss running the whole underworld. No, he's a war hero, a college-educated outsider, clean from the family business. He's soft and loving. He even says it, "That's my family, Kay, it's not me." But remember what happens when his father Vito gets shot. That's the moment it all shifts. Michael steps in, reluctantly at first. He's calm, collected, and then, boom, he pulls the trigger in that iconic restaurant scene. The clean-shaven golden boy becomes a man of blood. From that point on, it's a slow descent into darkness. Michael isn't dragged into the family business. He chooses it, and with each calculated move, each betrayal he orchestrates, including his own brother, we see a man transform into something colder, more dangerous, more vile, and more powerful. What does Michael's transformation mean? It's about the price of power, the loss of innocence, the tragedy of becoming the very thing you swore you'd never be. You start rooting for him, and then suddenly realize you're scared of him. That's not just a transformation, that's a fall from grace. 2. Tony Stark. Now let's flip the coin and jump into the Marvel universe. Tony Stark starts off in Iron Man as the classic narcissistic billionaire, weapons dealer, supercars, and a luxury life. Zero accountability. Remember that press conference? I am Iron Man. Yeah, pure ego. But when he gets kidnapped by terrorists using his own weapons, reality hits him in the face. Boom, wake-up call. He starts building the first Iron Man suit not to escape, but to atone. Step by step, Tony tries to right his wrongs, but old habits die hard. He wants to do good, but on his terms. That's how we get Ultron, a peacekeeping AI that turns into a deathbot. Still, through every misstep, Tony learns. He starts carrying the weight. And when the world breaks, what does he do in Endgame? He steps up, fully. He's got a daughter now, a life. Every reason to stay on the sidelines, but he can't. Because Peter Parker, his protege, his guilt, his responsibility, is gone. Tony realizes that being a hero means sacrifice. Not cool tech, not public praise, but loss. And in that final moment, with the universe on the line and Doctor Strange holding up that single finger, Tony doesn't hesitate. I am Iron Man. One last snap. One final act of pure selflessness. And with this, he redeems himself, winning the heart of every Marvel fan while leaving their eyes filled with tears.
I'd only ask 3 beers apiece for each of my co-workers.
Co-workers, get him. That's
3. Andy Dufresne. Now let's shift tone completely. The Shawshank Redemption. Quiet, powerful, slow burn. Andy Dufresne walks into Shawshank a broken man, wrongly convicted, cold and reserved, but not defeated. He doesn't explode with rage or collapse into despair. He waits. He observes. He plays chess with the prison system, move by patient move. Remember the rooftop scene? When he negotiates beer for the guys, just so they can feel human again. That's Andy. Always one step ahead. Always thinking. Always believing. Where other prisoners rot in routine, Andy builds. He creates a library, helps inmates get their GEDs. He chips away at a wall, both literally and metaphorically, for 20 years. Why? Because hope. Hope is what drives him. Not vengeance. Not escape for escape's sake. He believes in something bigger, even behind bars. And when he finally crawls through that tunnel, 500 yards of sewage and darkness, he doesn't just escape prison, he is reborn. Andy's transformation reminds us that the most radical change isn't loud. It's patient, it's quiet, and it's rooted in unbreakable belief. 4. Anakin Skywalker. Okay, Star Wars fans, you knew this one was coming. Anakin Skywalker's arc is one of the most tragic and iconic falls from grace in cinematic history. I mean, how do you go from the Chosen One to Darth freaking Vader? Let's rewind. Anakin wasn't just born, he was willed into existence by the Force itself. And yeah, Anakin never had a shot at a normal life. Raised as a slave on Tatooine, his genius-level talent with machines and pod racing caught the eye of Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn. One pod race later, he was freed, but his mother wasn't. But this emotional scar was just the beginning. Fast forward a few years, and the cracks start to show. The Jedi Order was cold and rigid. There were no attachments, no emotion. But Anakin, he was all heart. He deeply loved Padme, his mother, and his friends. And that's exactly what made him vulnerable. Remember that scene when he found his mom dying in a Tusken Raider camp? He lost it. Slaughtered the entire tribe. Women, children, everyone. That wasn't just rage. That was a man breaking inside. And then there's Palpatine, the ultimate manipulator. He saw Anakin's fear, his desperation to not lose Padme like he lost his mother, and played him like a Sith fiddle. And then came Anakin's tragic turn in Revenge of the Sith. He betrayed the Jedi, pledged himself to the dark side, and became Darth Vader, all because he believed it was the only way to save Padme. But the irony? He lost everything in the process. He helped slaughter the Jedi, choked Padme into unconsciousness, and was left dismembered on Mustafar after losing to Obi-Wan, his best friend. And that black suit, it was not just life support, it was a prison, a shell to house a man consumed by regret, anger, and heartbreak. Anakin's arc isn't about becoming evil for the sake of it. It's about what happens when love turns into fear, and fear into control. It's a gut-wrenching fall from hope to despair, and that's what makes his eventual redemption in Return of the Jedi hit so hard. Anakin was the chosen one. He just had to go through hell to bring balance to the Force.
Don't you leave him, Samwise Gamgee.
So sorry.
5. Frodo Baggins. And let's switch it up from galaxies far away to the green hills of the Shire. Frodo Baggins didn't look like much. He was small, quiet, not a warrior. But don't be fooled. This hobbit carried the heaviest burden in all of Middle-earth. When he inherited the One Ring from Bilbo, Frodo had no idea what he was stepping into. I mean, how could he? It was just a shiny little trinket, right? But no, the ring was evil, seductive. It whispered. It wanted to be found. And Frodo? He chose to bear it, knowing well it could destroy him. From the peaceful green fields of the Shire to the fiery chasm of Mount Doom, Frodo's journey was grueling. He was hunted by ring wraiths, stabbed, betrayed, starved, and emotionally wrecked. The ring didn't just weigh down his neck, it corroded his soul. Remember that moment in Mount Doom? After all that suffering, all that sacrifice, Frodo said, "The ring is mine." That line cut deep, because even the purest heart could be overwhelmed. But here's the thing, Frodo's arc wasn't about never failing, it was about what he did after he failed. Gollum, the very creature Frodo had shown mercy to, ended up being the reason the ring was destroyed. Frodo couldn't finish the job, but he got there. He resisted just long enough. In the end, Frodo couldn't stay in Middle-earth. He left for the Undying Lands because some hurts just never healed. And that's what made him so real. Frodo's journey wasn't flashy, it was internal. And that's what made it legendary. We've now looked at 5 characters across genres, eras, and galaxies. And they all teach us the same thing. True transformation comes at a cost. Michael Corleone lost his soul chasing control. Tony Stark gave his life learning selflessness. Andy Dufresne crawled through darkness for a sliver of hope. Anakin Skywalker surrendered to fear, only to find redemption in love. Frodo Baggins carried evil so others wouldn't have to. And isn't that what makes their stories timeless? So which transformation was your favourite?